Shall we commence the session, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead, Rupa.
Thank you. Very good morning to each one of you. On behalf of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome you all for the webinar, the first in the series on emerging trends and practices in sustainability. The series of webinar is organized under the aegis of the Chamber's ESG Expert Committee. The committee is chaired by Mr. Mohan, EHS Regional Coordination for India, Australia, Support ASEAN, Bosch and co-chaired by Mr. Nagesh, Kumar, Country Environment and Sustainability Manager, ABB India Limited. Thank you very much, sir, for structuring the series of webinar on the important subject. The Chamber acknowledges the support of today's speakers, Mr. Nagesh Kumar and Mr. Keshava Prasad from Bosch Limited, who are the managers of sustainability and EHS, for addressing and making the presentation in today's webinar. Thank you very much, Mr. Nagesh Kumar and Mr. Keshava Prasad. Now, the Chamber acknowledges the support of its annual sponsors, Mrs. Bueller, Continental, Fundermax, IIMPL, MTR, Ramaya Institute of Management, SDMIMD, Sona Group of Companies, TVS Motor, Vishwas Group and Wipro for their unstinted support in the activities of the Chamber. Now I would like to hand over the stage to Mr. Mohan, who is the chair of the ESG Expert Committee. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Rupa. Friends, good morning once again. Welcome to this webinar on the trends with respect to sustainability. So today I have two of my colleagues with me, Nagesh and Keshava Prasad. They are specialists and they have experience of I would say more than 20 years in this field, and they are good resources for Bosch. So the objective today of this session is to present the latest trends as far as sustainability is concerned. As you know, worldwide there is quite a bit of activism in the space of sustainability to ensure that mainly the global temperature is contained within 1.5 degrees centigrade by 2030 with various measures. When we speak about climate action, it includes various aspects related to sustainability. So today's presentation will be in two parts. First, Nagesh will speak about the SEBI requirements, which is the Stocks and Exchange Bureau of India, where they have brought in the sustainability requirements. As you know, if you look at the overall, the approach, it is part of ESG framework where it would lead to BRSR. ESG, as you know, speaks about the performance of organizations in the field of environment, social, and governance. And this is very much required especially for the listed companies, investors to have an informed decision before investing in companies. And some of you know that already there are ratings which are there independently done by external agencies, and they are available in the public domain. So Nagesh will speak about the BRSR. I will not go into the details of that because he will do that. Business responsibility and sustainability report, and also give a short case study about what we have done in Bosch Limited being listed. Then Keshava Prasad would speak about the latest trend as far as environmental legislation is concerned is on extended producer responsibility. It's already there on plastic for quite some time. Then we had electronic waste. Now the latest are batteries, and there is one coming up for used oil and then going up to the used tires. So Keshava would present key requirements and then also speak about our experience so far. So the first presentation will be for about 30 minutes and the question and Q&A would be at the end of the presentation, means all will be covered within 30 minutes. That's how Nagesh should take it forward. And the second presentation would be for about 20 minutes. And then, including Q&A. And then my friend Rajesh would conclude. He will also speak about what we have planned in the months to come as a part of ESG committee. So over to Nagesh.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to you all for the session. So first of all, I would like to thank BCIC as well as Mr. Mohan VC from Bosch for giving a wonderful opportunity to present before you all on the BRSR as well as the practices what we have adopted in Bosch. So I'd like to present my screen. So just let me know once the screen is visible.
Yeah, Nagesh, it's visible.
Yeah. Yeah, colleagues, next 30 minutes, I will take you through on the BRSR requirement and the practices what we have adopted in Bosch. So the content is something like this. So I'd brief about the background and also the development of BRSR. So how it got evolved over the years. Also the applicability of BRSR. So I will brief, and then disclosure section within BRSR. Also the overview of the 9 principles, which is a mandatory requirement where companies needs to disclose the information on different topic. So I will take you through. And then as a latest development within BRSR, there is a BRSR core requirement effective from July 2023 onwards. So I will touch upon that. And how Bosch is taking up the requirement in a structured way, as well as a kind of team formation within internal the departments. And then initiatives what we have taken up to achieve kind of ESG as well as BRSR requirements. And finally, the ratings and recognitions from different stakeholders. And then followed by the Q&A. So this is the content of the agenda, which I will be taking over the next 30 minutes. Yeah, colleagues, if you look at the background, so basically the BRSR stands for the Business Responsibility and the Sustainability Report. So it is evolved from the BRR earlier. What we had, it was called the BRSR, nothing but the Business Responsibility Report. And also this is from the 9 principles out of the National Guidelines on the Responsible Business Conduct, which is called NGRBC. And also it is inspired from our Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, which is released in the month of September 2015 as a kind of commitment where countries adopted to protect environment as well as to conserve our natural resources and also to end the poverty as well as ensure the prosperity for all. So taking out of that, in fact, this BRSR has been framed. And also if you look at it's a kind of transformative tool, I can say, and which empowers the companies to showcase the commitment or the kind of responsible actions towards employees, customers, and the environment. And it is also kind of testament to touch upon the environmental as well as social governance, the performances in the form of ESG, what we call it as. And as I said again, it is replaced with the BRR, what we had earlier. And also kind of it's a non-financial the outcome the what we disclose in terms of the accountability, transparency as well as the and the
Nagesh, you are muted. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and when it comes to the development of BRSR, so it is evolved over a period of years, starting from 2009. So where we had national voluntary guideline, it was called, and then started from again 2012 as BRR, and then over a period of years CSR requirement, and then NGRBC requirement, and as an integrated requirement. And also, if you look at the requirements, it started with the top 100 listed companies by SEBI as a market capitalization, and gradually it is increased as of now. If you look at the 1,000 listed companies as an applicability for BRSR. So now what we have from 2021 onwards is BRSR. It is inclusive of the sustainability requirement within the report along with the annual report. So where we need to disclose the sustainability topic in the form of ESG as well as the 9 principles out of the NGRBC. And in 2023, as I touched upon initially, so it's also called now the BRSR core. So where it is kind of attributes to the ESG, the performance of 9 principles out of again NGRBC. So this is how it is evolved from 2009 to 2023. And I will touch upon how the applicability further. So as of now, the SEBI, if you look at the BRSR is applicable for the top 1,000 listed entities based on the market capitalization, starting from as a voluntary basis, it was 21, 22, and now it is mandatory in 22, 23. Yeah, and then again, it is also for SMEs can report this the BRSS as a voluntary basis, though it's not a mandatory, but it can be taken up as a voluntary basis from 21, 22 onwards. And again, it is linked to the 9 principles of NGRBC, which I have briefed earlier. And the 9 principles, if you look at, it is divided into kind of essential as well as the leadership indicator. So here the essential indicator is a kind of mandatory requirement where a company or organization or a listed entities has to disclose the information mandatorily on various indicators which is asked by BRSR. Whereas the leadership indicator is a kind of voluntary, it is not a mandatory, and also it's a kind of optional where one or organizations can report or it can be left as it is. So as of now, it is voluntary. However, it may become in future a kind of mandatory requirement, some of the requirement out of the leadership indicator. And if you look at the disclosure format in BRSR, so this is divided in terms of the different section. So section A talks about the general disclosure where we need to disclose about the entity, the information. And the section B is about the management and the process disclosure. Again, here the management approach. So how we are planning to adopt the BRSR, how are we going to disclose the information? So that has to be disclosed in the section B. And the section C here plays the very important role where it requires to disclose in terms of the principle-wise information. So where there are 9 principles comes into the picture. So those 9 principles, again, I'll brief in the next subsequent slides. So here within these 9 principles, the leadership as well as the essential indicator comes into the picture. So essential indicator, again, as I said, it's a compulsory, like it could be the greenhouse gas emission disclosure, or it could be water withdrawal disclosure, or it could be the waste quantification disclosure. So something like that. I'm touching upon the principle 6, which I'll brief in the next subsequent slides. So those things are a kind of mandatory or the compulsory indicator where we need to disclose within the essential indicator. Whereas the leadership indicator, for example, the scope 3 emission of carbon, so where it's an optional as of now. That's a part of the leadership indicator. So I'm just giving an example for both essential and the leadership indicator. So this is how the structure means defined within the BRSR disclosure in terms of the different section. Yeah, and these are all the principles where you can see there are 9 principles, again taking out from the NGRBC or again from the Sustainable Development Goals, which are all linked to the ESG performance. So the principle 1 is more focuses on the importance of the ethical conduct and also the transparency of the business conduct. And the principle 2 is more on the importance of the, I can say, the sustainable and safe production practices. And also the principle 3 is about the employees' well-being, where companies has to take care about the safe and healthy health safety requirements at workplace. And also for our value chain partners, including the suppliers and contractors, as well as the temporary workers. And similarly, the principle 4 is about the more on stakeholder engagement. And the principle 5 is about on the human rights, where company or the organization has to disclose the information on the human rights part. And principle 6 is predominantly on the environmental protection, conservation of resource, and also the kind of compliance to applicable legal requirements. So it's more on environmental protection requirement within the principle 6. And the principle 7 is more on the kind of efforts put across to restore the environmental related again, and also engaging the public as well as the regulatory policy requirement. And the principle 8 as well as 9 is more on inclusive growth as well as equitable development, and also engaging kind of value chain, the consumer and in a responsible manner. So these are all the different principles which are all again linked if you look at overall in terms of the environmental social governance part. And what is new in BRSR if you look at in deep, so when compared to the BRR earlier. So now it expects us to disclose more and more quantitative information. So in terms of it could be, as I said, the kind of carbon, the neutral reporting information. It could be water withdrawal, waste quantification, something like that. And also there are essential and leadership indicator, again, as I briefed in the previous slide. And also there is a availability of guidance notes, like how to use or how to fill the information in terms of the different principles, with some more examples are given in this guidance note. Also, the more importance for value chain partner, nothing but incorporation of the value chain partners and overall mapping of our SDG goals. So into this BRSR template. And now moving on to the BRSR core, which is released in the month of July 12th, 2023 as a core requirement. So it is again, it's a subset of all our 9 principles or the ESG attributes out of the principles what we have seen in the previous slides. So all those key performance indicators are incorporated. So accordingly, the format or the template, what we called as BRSR, has been revised. However, the applicability remains same. So as of now, it is applicable for the top 1,000 listed entities effective from 23-24. And here, one more important requirement is a kind of reasonable assurance. So nothing but the data has to be audited by the third party, nothing but again the competent agency. So has to be audited the data which we disclose, or before the publishing of the information to the public, it has to be audited and it has to be confirmed. Then only it can be published to the external world. So that is where the term or the requirement comes to the picture of the reasonable assurance. So as of now, it is applicable for the top 150 listed entities effective from 23-24, nothing but this current financial year. And then gradually there is a plan to cover 1,000 listed entities until 26-27 as financial year. And the one more important requirement here is also incorporation of the value chain partner, what we have seen in the previous slide. So there is a requirement for the disclosure of the BRSR core information in terms of the ESG for all our value chain partners in terms of either comply or explain basis. So here it is for the top 250 listed entities effective from 24-25 as a financial year onwards. And also there is a limited assurance is required for all these 250 listed entities by the competent agencies. This is for the financial year from 25-26 onwards. So who can be the kind of assurance provider? So basically, they should not be part of our any consultancy or any other service provider like our certification body audits what we undergo. So there should not be any sort of services involved for an organization. So it should be free from all these the services. One such companies or the agencies have to be selected as a service provider. Yeah. So this is the core requirement. So if you look at what is that, the core attributes or the requirements, again, out of 9 principles. So it could be, as I shown here, the GHG footprinting, nothing but the greenhouse gas footprint and the water footprint, nothing but the disclosure of the water withdrawal and the intensity of both energy as well as water. And then also the well-being of employees, safety, gender diversity, so inclusive development, fairness and openness of business. So all these are part of now the BRSR core requirement, which is effectively need to be disclosed by top 150 companies, 1,000 listed companies from 23-24 onwards. Yeah. So one more, the important requirement for the value chain partner, where we need to, again, as I shown in the previous slide, it is applicable for the top 250 listed entities, where we need to cover the value chain partners also in disclosing the ESG or the BRSR information in terms of the core requirement. And the selection could be cumulatively comprising of the 75% of its purchase or the sales by value, where we need to ensure the disclosure of the information. And also it has to be certified or it has to be confirmed in terms of the assurance as a limited assurance by the third parties. So in Bosch, we also have identified, considering this 75% of by purchase or the sales across the globe, And as a first, the kind of phase of activity, we have started with the CDP disclosure, and then followed by also we have initiated a kind of SBTi agreement in terms of the target for the CO2 neutrality. And a very clear picture or kind of format also has been given within the BRSR core. There is an Annexure 1 where one can refer this template, which is also available in SEBI or the public domain. And it clearly defines what exactly we need to disclose as part of the core requirement in terms of the different principles which I shown in the previous slides. And as part of this, we have also done internally within Bosch a kind of gap analysis to check what is available with us and what is not available and how to bridge that gap. So we have mapped the data requirements. So basically, we have a platform called Enablan database. So we report our data on a monthly basis with respect to the carbon neutrality, also with respect to the water and the waste, as well as other the resource data on a quarterly basis. And there are data which is not part of the kind of Enablan platform. So, for example, the BRSR expects us to disclose the waste quantification details in a different format as well as in split. It could be battery waste, it could be waste. So such things we have initiated to have a kind of information in a separate platform, or we are planning to integrate within the Enablan so that we report and we extract the report and also we publish. And one more thing here, before publishing, our data gets audited by a kind of third party, nothing but it undergoes the reasonable assurance by an agency called the E&Y globally. And then only we publish the data to the public. Yeah, so this is how the system we have adopted within Bosch for publishing the data before which goes to the media or wherever. And to develop a system, so initially we didn't have a kind of a structured team, or I can say. So then we have internally developed a kind of governance structure, starting involving from the board of directors and then also the top management comprising of our managing director, Mr. Guru Prasad Mudlapur, and then followed by the executive committee and also the program management team, and then functional leads, where we have also have a team of various department representative, like from environment, you can see Carsten, as well as Mr. Mohan VC, and then followed by social team from HR, and then governance team from the company secretary team. So like, various teams we have made to basically work on this kind of ESG as well as the BRSR requirement. And also, like this ESG as well as BRSR cannot be done by one department or one team. So we have involved various stakeholders to work on these particular topics. So you can see where the team from the direct department as well as also the other department, like plant HSE colleagues and the plant facility team, logistic team, HRL team, right? So various teams we have involved in developing to work on the reporting system of the BRSR as well as the ESG part. And coming to the kind of initiative, what Bosch has been done to achieve BRSR or ESG part. So we have a well-established system within Bosch with respect to the sustainability as well as on the ESG part. And we also called, we also target vision called the sustainability target dimension until 2025. So out of that, we have worked upon on the climate action and the water scarcity, also the circular economy, as well as other CSR topics. So if you look at in the climate action, so where we have installed our own generation of solar plants, capacity of about 30 megawatt across RO India, considering various plants. And also we have worked upon the group captive the initiatives. So if you look at 30 megawatt in Karnataka and Maharashtra, 8 megawatt, and we also have a plan of additional megawatts in 23-24 onwards. And coming to the water, we have adopted the 3C approach, and we have implemented the project with respect to the rainwater harvesting conservation by building kind of huge capacities of the tanks to restore or collect the water and reutilize for various other purposes. And also on the circular economy, so we are working towards the zero waste to landfill. So we have a potential to eliminate or reduce about 1,400 tons of waste which goes to the landfill sites. And also as part of the CSR activity, kind of afforestation and the lake rejuvenation projects which we have taken across different locations within Bosch. And all that we have means incorporated into our annual report as part of the SEBI requirement, and also as part of our BRSR requirement with respect to the various initiatives which I shown in the previous slide, like it could be on the circular economy, product safety or the responsibility, right? And then diversity, equity, and inclusion. Also a part of rewards and recognition, and then supplier the engagement. So all that were part of our annual report. And how that triggered for us to work upon. So initially, we have been rated by different the rating companies. So in 2022, the agency called CRISIL. So we have been rated low, I can say, when compared to the other peer groups within the same. So especially on the environmental part. So though we had a very good initiatives across Bosch, whereas in terms of the disclosure, we were means a little low with respect to the rating, and then we worked upon the various initiatives and we could get better ratings year on year. So if you could see in the 2022, there is an agency called Futurescape. So out of 100 companies, we were at 14th position. So with the improved disclosure of information. And also the agency called Sustainalytics, it's a global rating company. So again, so here the lower the rating is the better the score. And so in 2021, we were at 22.6, where it was a medium risk. And if you look at the current rating by Sustainalytics, we are at 8.5. That's a negligible risk. And that is where like we could improve the reporting of information as well as initiatives based on the feedback or the rating which we have received from the various rating companies. And finally, we could able to also get recognition by our esteemed customers like Ashok Leyland this year, and also from the Tata Motors for the initiatives which we have taken up in the areas of environmental social governance and also in the areas of sustainability topics. So with this, I would stop my presentation, and I would request in case there are questions, I would take up the same.
Yeah, we can use 5 to 6 minutes for Q&A.
Yeah, good morning.
We have enabled the audio. Participants can ask the questions. Mr. Ashok, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Ashok from Toyota Kilos Karato Parts. Thank you, Nagesh. I think for the various case studies or the initiatives, whatever Bosch has taken, you explained in detail. Yeah. And even in TCAP also, we are doing many activities. But what I want to understand is this earlier, I think people were doing in the name of like environment, health, or something other thing. But as a ESG, where you have formed a core group kind of thing, from when in the Bosch this is started? Just I wanted to understand.
Yeah, this we have started, I can say effective 2022, 21-22 onwards, where as I said in one of the slide, the ratings from the different agencies. So that's where we got a trigger from our top management to work on this particular topic. And then the committee has been made, and we have a regular meeting with the top management as well as the functional leads. And then, yeah, it is continuing. The journey is still continuing.
Earlier you were called as only like safety, health and environment. It's like different entities.
It was a common corporate sustainability, environment, health and safety. So in fact, earlier it was also called only corporate health and safety. And then the Bosch started focusing on the sustainability as a first forefront, I can say. And then effective 2022 onwards, we have incorporated the sustainability as a first part in our journey.
Okay. Anyway, thank you. I have one more question regarding your disclosure. Whatever you are telling, section A, B, C, other people refer to as scope 1, 2, 3. Both are same.
No, if I am correct, if I understood your question, like the scope 1 and 2, so basically it comes within the principle 6 of disclosure as part of the carbon neutrality disclosure. So where we talk about the scope 1 emission, scope 2 emission, right? So whereas this section is about the different section which is expected to disclose on a different requirement like organizational requirement, entity requirement, and then general information about the incorporation details. So those are all expected to disclose in different sections, whereas section C only talks about the various principles. So hope I answered your question.
Yeah, Ashok, the issue is scope 1, 2, and 3 are with respect to carbon emissions. So as you know, scope 1 and 2 are within our control. Scope 3 is beyond, extended this thing. But what Nagesh explained about section A, B, and C is from the BRSR format, where you have to disclose different information. It's quite exhaustive for us also. It was a learning experience, and it took some time to understand what needs to be reported.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Nagesh.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Nagesh.
Yeah.
I am Vijay Kumar. I handle sustainability and ESG for Brigade. Thanks for the wonderful presentation. Could get a lot of insights on BRSR, what exactly BRSR is expecting from the top 1,000 listed companies. My question would be on the carbon neutrality. You mentioned about you have signed, the Bosch has signed SBTi commitment letter. I hope this year only you have signed the commitment letter.
No, we are, I can say, carbon neutral in the areas of scope 1 and scope 2 emission since 2020 onwards as a Bosch and its 400 locations across worldwide.
Yeah, I can add, see, SBTi agreement is basically, it is science-based targets for scope 3 emissions. And we have taken a target to reduce our scope 3 emissions by 15% by 2030. So if you can achieve this 15% reduction, it overall supports in realizing temperature increase to only 1.5 degrees centigrade by 2030. So because as you know, when we speak about scope 3 emissions, more than 90% of our emissions is coming from use of our products. Whereas from value chain, it's only about 6-7%, and then logistics contributes to 1%. So we have to work on, along with working with suppliers and logistics, we have to work on our products to reduce their carbon footprint. So 15% reduction. See, we started in 2017. We were about 450 million tons scope 3 emissions. This is reduced in 2022. It is around 380 tons. So we want to, but as the business develops, it also increases. So overall, if we can realize 15% reduction in our emissions compared to 2017 levels, then we would be supporting this initiative to limit the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees centigrade.
Hello, Nagesh sir and Mohan sir. It was a very nice presentation. I think Bosch is doing a very commendable job in terms of sustainability and ESG. I had a couple of questions. I mean, for the first thing is you have mentioned how you are engaging with your supply chain partners to push your sustainability agenda towards the value chain. So can you elaborate a bit more on that? I mean, I understand that you have insisted them on to go with CDPs and other ranking and go ahead with voluntarily comparing themselves or rating themselves with certain agencies. But is there any effort that you have put on giving them certain specific trainings or hand-holding in terms of increasing their knowledge levels That is my first question. The second thing is there any attempt made on the internal carbon pricing mechanism for your organization? Because I understand.
Nagesh,
Yeah.
Nagesh, I will take,
please,
this
sir.
question.
Yeah, you can.
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks for this question. See, what we are doing is within Bosch, we are trying to project India as the manufacturing destination for Bosch. Because as you know, today Bosch China is dominating, and we want to make India also, Bosch India also, as a global hub for manufacturing. Having said that, for us, important stakeholders are our value chain partners, where suppliers come into picture. So when we go global with manufacturing and supply more and more components to Bosch entities globally, our suppliers also have the opportunity to improve the business. This is a basic objective. And as Nagesh said, we have more than 20,000 suppliers globally. Currently, we are working with around 2,000 suppliers who contribute to 75% of our business. So our requirements this year was one is disclosing the data on the CDP platform. That is the first requirement. And second requirement is to agree for SBTI, whatever the commitments. So in the process, what we have done is, for quite some time, we have conducted awareness sessions for our suppliers in terms of how they can increase the percentage of green electricity for their energy needs, and how this the group captive mechanism, which is available in some of the states in India, is quite beneficial to the industry, because you get some benefits in terms of the pricing of the units. So we are working with our suppliers. It's I say it is quite a challenge, but we have seen good response from our suppliers so far.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think yeah, thanks Nagesh. Yeah, now over to Keshava on EPR.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, BCIC, for this opportunity. Let me share the screen. Hope the screen is visible.
Yeah, Keshava, go ahead.
So just to express the friends here to with respect to Bosch approach on the waste management specific to these EPRs. So little detail on plastic waste management, followed by touching upon on e-waste and battery waste EPR. So we have this new dimension, sustainability for 2025. It's a global drive within Bosch, wherein 6 dimensions which are in line with the Sustainable Development Goals SDGs, under which circular economy, if you see here, is mainly focusing on the waste management. So what we do here is improving material efficiency by taking the product or the part of the product which is getting its end of life. And main focus currently is on zero waste to landfill. Our approach is called hierarchical 4R approach: reduce, which is not possible, then reuse, then it is not possible, then recycle, and finally recover. So what are we doing currently is disposal to recovery is our first prime focus, mainly alternate fuel resources, or the other which is called co-processing. And another approach is waste reduction at the source by design change, either by product or the process or the packaging system. We also focus on EPR. Mainly it is on plastic waste, e-waste, and battery waste. What would be a true north? What would be our true north is say no to waste. Find out all waste elimination possibilities wherever is applicable, wherever it is feasible. Then mainly on packing, it is biodegradable and compostable packing that we will be focusing in the years to come. So this EPR mainly speaks about the end of life product and how are we taking it back. Let us understand more on that in the subsequent slides. So which are all the applicable laws for EPR currently? If you see, it all derived from Environmental Protection Act, where under this plastic waste management rules, it evolved in the year 2016, then amended from time to time. E-waste management rules, now it is called E-waste management rules 2022, which is effective from 1st April 2023, then battery waste management rules 2022. There are two more EPRs which are coming, which are currently not applicable to Bosch, but it may be applicable for one of the, the friends who are here. It is mainly on the hazardous waste and other waste management rules, where it is amended, where waste oil EPR, which will come with effect from 2024 April. Then waste tire EPR is another area which is coming up. So just to have an idea of the tonnage of plastic that is generated in the market, according to United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, based on 2019 data, if you see the general plastic waste, it's basically the municipal solid waste, which ends up about 67% in million metric tons, if you see 238, and remaining other sectors where the waste generation data is given here. So way forward is reuse, recycle, and then reorient ourselves. So coming to extended producer responsibility, this framework developed by Central Pollution Control Board, then it is implemented across India, if you see here. So the aim is to plastic packaging material is a prime focus here. It is to be taken care. It should not be given, or it should not be sent for disposal, either landfill or incineration. This is to be avoided. So this works under polluter pay principle. That means the polluters to ensure that it is not disposed, or it is not polluting the environment. And another point which they made, and they have been reminding, is that no entity to procure the plastic packaging material from a non-EPR registered entity. So what is what do you mean by producer? Producer means persons engaged in manufacture and import of carry bags or multi-layered packaging or plastic sheets or like, and includes industries or individuals using plastic sheets or like, or covers made of plastic sheets or multi-layered packaging for packaging or wrapping the commodity. That means every plastic packaging is involved here. When we say plastic packaging, and it is also, it is not only the plastic which is packaging which is procured, it is also the parts which are procured, which are wrapped or covered by the plastic packaging. It's also inclusive in this. So are all the obligated entities: producers, importers of plastic packaging, or importers the parts which are packed by plastic packaging materials, and brand owners. Then also plastic waste processors, recyclers, or waste to energy specialists. The EPR registration certificate, it looks like this. You can see on the right hand side of this slide. Which are all the categories? Categories are rigid plastic packaging. You can see on the some of the photos also here. Category 2 is mainly on the flexible plastic packaging. Then category 3 speaks about multi-layered plastic packaging. When we say multi-layered, it is the one layer of plastic and one more layer on the one more plastic layer, or it could be any other materials. Category 4 is a compostable plastics. How does this work? It is in a nutshell. If you see, we can understand in this slide where the initial process, this is what is our approach. So we have collected data of plastic procured and plastic part, or the plastic which is generated when it unpacked either within the plant, or it is when it is going out to the end customer. This is an estimated value. So we have about 5 manufacturing locations under Bosch Limited and 12 warehouses. Then once the data is collected, then the consolidation according to the category, and then application submission followed by this EPR registration and obtaining the certificate. And then in the portal, we can get this EPR targets to take care of these targets. So there is the process of reverse logistics, that is, collecting equivalent volume, whichever is the estimated volume or the target which is appearing in the portal, the equivalent volume of plastic material category wise to be collected from the market, like, rag pickers, urban local bodies, and that particular volume to be given to the EPR EPR registered plastic waste processors or the recyclers, and then it is the certificate generated there after the validation by CPCB. And when we make this annual returns, it is on or before 30th of June every year. Last year it extended until for this financial year, that is financial year 22-23, it extended until 30th November. But this will continue until this will not continue in the years to come, where 30th June will be the last date for this annual returns. These are all the mandatory requirements. Once we make this annual returns, then the certificates which are generated on behalf of us will be appearing, and the annual returns to the certificate, it should match. The balance should happen. Otherwise, portal will always, it will, that pop-up will say it doesn't match. So this is an important part here. So once this is balanced out, the activity is complete for that particular financial year. And earlier it was given for 2 years, then it was extended for 5 years, this EPR certificate. Now they say it is only one time, and only the targets vary from year on year based on the volume which is generated, or whatever the volume that we declare in the portal. So what is the advantage? Advantage is we are taking care of the waste generated because of us in the market. And risk, if it is not fulfilled, then there is a risk of the penalty. The difficulties which we have is, unlike the FMCGs, the data of these plastic packaging materials, generally we have this. So there is no other way except estimating the plastic packaging materials across all activities. And the challenges are, currently rules are evolving from day by day. It is for our benefit only, but they are evolving, wherein we should be in line with the rules and requirements from time to time. So just to understand the e-waste requirement, when we say e-waste is electrical and electronic equipment. Now it is included, the solar PV modules and panels and cells are also included in this. It could be whole or in part. This is what is e-waste. And this e-waste rule speaks about the list of e-waste which are called Schedule 1. And it is only applicable to these EPR process is applicable under e-waste management rules is only for the listed e-waste generated as per Schedule 1. So producer again means here the manufacturer or offers to sell electrical and electronic equipment, offers to sell under its own brand, and offers to sell imported electronic and electrical equipments, and the one who imports used electronic and electrical equipment. We are in the process of obtaining this e-waste EPR, which is basically an amendment EPR that we, because of the Schedule 1, which is revised in the year 2022, which includes our power tools. Coming to battery waste, again, battery means new or refurbished cell or battery or their component, including accumulator, which is any source of electrical energy. Earlier, it was only applicable for lead acid. Now it is all kinds of battery. Some of the pictures you can witness here. So producer means again here's the manufacture or sale of battery including refurbished battery. Sale of battery including refurbished battery. Import of battery as well as equipment containing battery. It is not only the battery, and if we are importing some equipment which is containing battery is also applicable here. The EPR certificate looks like this. Yeah, this is in a nutshell or an overview of this EPR process. Now, open for any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Keshav. In fact, as Keshav explained, right now we have the registration for plastic rules for Bosch operations across India. And our partner is Sahas. They work, they are based in Bangalore, and we have a tie-up with them. So they collect the plastic waste from the ecosystem, from the environment. They have again in turn tie-up with local municipal bodies and rack pickers association. So let's say we have around 500 tons of plastic from our operations getting into the environment. So in a financial year, they collect this waste and it is put back into recycling. So the entire mechanism is done in a very circular way. We need to file the returns to the Pollution Control Board, and this is being monitored. So going forward, when it becomes effective across, the industries, then we will see less and less plastic in the ecosystem, because as producers, we will be collecting this plastic and it will be put into the recycling system. So similarly, it would be with respect to the batteries. Earlier, it was only for the lead acid batteries, but it covers all types of batteries. With EV coming up and various other utilities, there is more and more use of batteries. So it needs to be managed well, but it is better than plastic because it has a value even after its life. That's how it was in a closed system earlier, but now with a law, it will be more effective. And also the electronic waste, again, the problem is not the collection of electronic waste, but there was problem with agencies who are recycling this waste. Now it has to go through only authorized recyclers so that it is done in the right way, and the various materials are separated and put back into recycling system. Any questions?
And just to add, this MSMEs.
I want that to be clear.
Yeah. Yeah, Keshava.
Yeah, MSMEs were earlier exempted. Now they are also the part of the CPR, and it is expected the MSMEs also to register under the CPR.
Yeah, Ranjan, go ahead. You raised your hand.
Hi, Mr. Mohan and Kesha. I wanted to ask you if for the e-waste recyclers, is it a fairly straightforward approach? Do you have a vendor system that we register on if we were to approach you to manage your e-waste recycling needs?
Sorry, if you could come again?
Oh, no. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you now. Yeah, if you could come again, the point which
I said for you to meet your EPR obligations for the e-waste management.
Okay.
Is it fairly straightforward for the recyclers to approach you? Do you have a vendor system?
No, currently.
Do you publish anything? Is it an auction usually, or
currently
what method do you?
Yeah, we are approaching some 3-4 vendors. See, our problem is we also have our own system internally here. We have our dealer network. We are collecting the end of life products, and it is connected with the engaged recyclers as well. So we are looking multiple options here. The current issue is just, we are waiting for this EPR to come.
See, Ranjana, just to answer your
Okay.
question, see, internally, the assessment is done to explore the potential of these recyclers, whether they have the required, approvals, and then what is the facility they have. And ours is all through a third-party action. There is a platform to
Okay.
participate for the vendors. So they come on the board and the actioning is done. But before getting into the getting listed within Bosch, the audit, they have to pass our assessment.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Whom can we reach out to for that?
You can connect with us. You can connect with Keshava. He can
Okay.
support you in case you need some support
Sure.
from us. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, Vijay Kumar.
So my question would be not on EPR. So I think Bosch has got a management system in place for quality, environment, and occupational health and safety. So whatever the efforts and the targets we, as a company, Bosch has taken under ESG, those targets being linked to IMS targets?
Yeah, a good question, Vijay. See, these are not new to us. I am working with Bosch for many years. Always water, energy, waste was a part of our annual targets, and we used to set the goals. Also, Bosch came out with sustainability goals based on the 6 mega trends somewhere in 2018-19. So whatever we do today, as I said, we are working with our suppliers to develop Bosch as a global supplier within Bosch. We have a platform called Value Chain Strategy, where we put all these targets as part of our approach to sustainability, and they are also reflected in IMS, Integrated Management System. So it is one and the same. There is no need to have two parallel systems. Automatically, see, it is only question of evolving. What is evolving? As it is evolving, laws are evolving. They are becoming much stringent. And the core BRSR core reasonable assurance, we are ahead of Europe. In Europe, it is coming up in year 25-26, but already it has come up in India 23-24. So everything is getting integrated now. As Nagesh said earlier, we were called as EHS professionals, environment, health, and safety. But today, sustainability is in the forefront. Yes. And sustainability, if you look at our mega trends, even work safety, health, it is all part of sustainability, diversity, human rights. So sustainability is a bigger umbrella. It doesn't mean that it is only sustainability of the environment. It is of the entire business, including social and governance.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, if there are no other questions, Rajesh, you can speak about, what's our plan for the next coming months, and we can conclude, and also Rupa can conclude in the end.
Thank you, Mohanji, and of course, thanks to all the speakers. In fact, both the speakers, they have really in fact, all the best practices in Bosch, and of course, various ESG aspect also has been shared. Right. So of course, I think we all have been seeing the engagement, in fact, from last few years, in terms of course, awareness building, in terms of bringing the idea about the ENS, of course, and the governance, certain aspect we have also touched upon in the past. But this year, in fact, with our new leadership, and of course, we have a certain plan actually where we wanted to further engage with our various partners, or you can say the members who could not participate last time also. So this year, in fact, we have a clear plan where, of course, not only this series of ESG web talk, in fact, we are also planning to have the kind of site visits at our, some of the good companies where, of course, the ESG practices are being, taken place in a very, in fact, a very nice way, in a very improved way. And of course, we'll also be having a kind of the various seminars, the kind of not only the webinars, but the physical meets where, of course, we can also share some of the best practices from different, in fact, industries, and of course, some of the topics. And I think this particular ESG web talk, in fact, this is just a first in fact, the part of the entire series. Of course, we'll also be covering various the topics, like of course, in terms of E, I think we all know that there's a net zero target from, in fact, from a government of India. Then we also have the kind of recently, in fact, I was also reading BBMP has also set a target that, we actually looking at making the Bangalore, the carbon neutral by a certain year, by 2050, in fact. So the point is the way the kind of the trends are coming up, the kind of expectation, and of course, the kind of the goal everybody is setting. In fact, we all are having certain roles to play. So the net zero based, some of the topics we are going to include. And of course, circularity would be another area. In fact, in our web series would be the priority, where of course people can understand the different aspect of the circularity in this, the E part of the ESG. And of course, social and all, of course, we know that in social, we have been talking earlier on the CSR and all. This year, in fact, we'll also talk about the supply chain or value chain engagement. In fact, various best practices in that area. Of course, safety and employee engagement is another area that we might be touching upon in our web series. And of course, governance, I think we have already seen today on the BRSR and all. However, some of the kind of standards, some of the reporting frameworks, we also might come across, and of course we'll try to bring it to all of you so that you can enhance your overall understanding on the ESG. However, I think this is not just a kind of thought process that we would like to bring these topics, but we also are quite open to all of it. In fact, you also have any kind of any suggestions, anything that any special topic, in fact, that you're looking at and that you would like us to also bring it to all of you. So you please feel free to reach out to us. We are open to take up your suggestions also, and of course we'll try to include it. And of course, last not the least, in fact, I think we also know that we have a clear understanding that we would like to not only just contribute by bringing some awareness level. In fact, we are also looking at promoting our industrial partners, or in fact the members, in fact, through some ESG awards. So I think that also is our target for this year, and everything will go as per our plan. And of course, we'll try to bring more and more, in fact, the kind of activities, some of the best practices, so that we all can have a better understanding. And of course, we can bring the best practices and we can implement in our plan too. So I think with that, I'll again, thanks to all of you, all of the members, all of the participants and the speakers. And of course, looking forward to have a more active engagement in the future too. And thank you, everyone. And over to you, Rupa Madam. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. And thanks to Mr. Nagesh, Kumar and Keshava, Prasad. I think this was quite an interactive session, sir. And thanks to all the participants for joining the session. We'll be sharing the details on the next series of the webinars in due course. Thanks once again, sir, Mr. Mohan, Mr. Rajesh Cha. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.